So like the Kehinde Wiley examples I showed you a little earlier, we're going to be mixing portraits and patterns together for our summative today. First thing you should do is download the Pixlr file shared with you through Google Classroom, and then open it in Pixlr. This is what it looks like. It has the parts you must include for each portrait, and you're going to be doing this twice. You're going to have 2 portraits. Let's start off with the first one. Now I've given you a set of about 10 different types of patterns you can choose. Let's say you don't like any of the ones provided. You can download your own, but don't take too long picking a pattern. That's why we provided it for you. Now here's how you bring your pattern into your Pixlr file. You can hit this little plus sign right here and hit image. And if you have it downloaded on your computer, you should be able to find your pattern. So I have all of mine here. I'm going to choose which one I think would be most appropriate for who I'm picking as my portrait. So I like this one right here. Maybe I changed my mind. I kind of like this one. So I'm going to hit open. And my files are going to be really large, so I'm going to have to zoom out a bit. And the only reason why I'm zooming out is so I can see the edge of this document, so I can bring down this pattern so it's a lot smaller and more reasonable for my page. Okay? I tried to give you high quality pictures, so that's why the pictures will be slightly big. You can just resize them. There we go. Okay? Now, if I don't want to accidentally move this while I work, I could lock it, but I think I'm fine right now. The next thing I want to do is research the portrait of someone I admire, respect, want to be like, right? So that I can bring them into my Pixlr file. So I'm just going to go put my girl Frida. You can choose whoever you really admire. And I want a portrait of her. So it's really important I get at least her shoulders up, right? It doesn't have to be a full body, but at least the shoulders up so I can really see her face. And if you find that your pictures look a little blurry, you can hit tools, put size, and set this to be a large or medium so it's a better quality photograph. So I like this image of her. I'm going to save this on my computer. That way I can go to my Pixlr file. I'm going to repeat the same thing I did before. Add this plus sign, hit image, and find the picture of Frida I downloaded. And I'll have to do the same thing by resizing. I want it large enough that I can really work. And I'm going to have to zoom in for this. Now comes the difficult part of today's summative, selecting our portrait out. And depending on how much of your body is showing in your portrait, you might have a larger frame to work with or not. I'm going to zoom in to get as close as I can to the edge of Frida's lines. You'll see that I use the space bar a lot. It lets me move my page around. Now we learned last period how to use the Bezier lasso tool. As a reminder, it's with our lasso tool. It's the third one here. Takes a little getting used to, but we've had some practice now. And when you do this, you can start at a corner, I would recommend. And you're going to start just tracing your portrait. You're going to go around the whole figure. Now that I'm getting to the end of this, just a reminder of how to use the Bezier selection tool, right? I'm going to click and drag in the direction I want my curve to go. And when I'm happy, I click one more time. You will be tempted to double click. Please don't. If you do, a double click is going to close your selection. You're going to have to start again and you're going to get very frustrated. So be patient, right? When you click down and start a selection, move the handle in the direction you want the curve to go in. Click one more time to set the curve. And then you can continue your line, okay? To close my shape, I'm going to go right where I started, back to the first point. And then I'm going to zoom out. Now, this is going to happen to a few of you. You're going to have things like maybe earrings or a shirt or something like that. So you're going to see that in my Frida, I have this little section right here that I don't want as part of my selection. And we know that we can add to our selection or subtract. And in this case, I want to subtract this little section around her earring that I couldn't get into without cutting her earring off. So I'm going to find the one that says remove some from selection, and I'm just going to create this shape just like I did the other shape with the Bezier selection tool. Click and drag in my direction, click to set the curve, click set, right? It's a lot of repetition. The more you use the tool, the better you're going to get at it. You're going to see that when I finish this, it's going to help me cut that part of her portrait out. Okay, so now I have a selection of Frida and I am selected on the right layer. That's going to be really crucial to make this work. Now, just like we did the other day, I really don't want to actually erase Frida. I want everything outside of her to be erased. So I'm going to do an invert. Select invert selection, and then I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. And what that should do is remove everything outside of Frida. Now I can hit Command D to deselect, and I have a wonderful selection of Frida here. So now what I want to do is kind of arrange her where she belongs. So if I have extra stuff like this, which happens when my picture was kind of on the side, I can use another selection tool like the marquee and just click on it and hit delete. Super easy. And I'm just going to move her right over the pattern the where I want her. Now at this step, I do want us to pause and do our first check-in. So no matter how quickly you get to the step or not, this is going to let Mr. Chan or myself know that you kind of got part of this done and you know how to use the Bezier selection. So you're going to save as a JPEG and put it in your progress check-in slides that's denoted to you. That's going to be part of your test grade, right? I really want people to participate in that. It lets us know what's going on.